the Prophet ﷺ said, "An-nasu kulluhum banu Adam." Humanity, all of humanity, are from the tribe of Adam. So this literally erases this whole idea that we have these distinct races out there. We're all of the same tribe. We're just from different branches of the same tribe. And just like you have in a family, you can have a light-skinned member and a dark-skinned based on their genetics. So you see in some families, like if you have a mixed family, you'll see one child comes out very light-skinned and another child comes out dark-skinned. And so Adam and Hawa, which are the original two people that we all come from, and this is our material sciences have also indicated this. Adam and Hawa, the word Adam is most likely, I mean the Hebrew derivation is different from ours, but most likely is from Udmat al-Ard, which is the topsoil of the earth. And the Prophet ﷺ said that Adam was created from all the topsoil of the earth. The white soil, the black soil, the brown soil, the yellow soil, the red soil. So you see all of these soils come out in the children of Adam. And according to Surah Al-Rum, this is a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made in your complexions and in your tongues and in your complexions. These are signs for people who know. So Allah has diversified creation as signs of His power. And so we celebrate these differences, but we recognize that all you have to do is cut the skin and you get red blood, that we all bleed red. And so we're essentially the same people, we're from the same tribe. And this is the universality of Islam. وَآدَمُ مِن تُرَابٍ. And then he said Adam is from Turab, in Turab. So his physical body, the physical makeup that we all share, is earth. And that should make us humble. But the spiritual nature is what distinguishes us. So we're not distinguished by our materiality, we're distinguished by our spirituality. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum," that the most honored and noble of you in God's eyes, not in people's eyes, in God's eyes, are the most pious, the most dutiful, the most conscientious, the people that strive to perfect their souls. Those are the people, and that's called mu'minun taqiyun. That's the believer. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying that in terms of your materiality, you're all just Banu Adam. You're from the same tribe. There's no differences. And Islam, and this is why Arnold Toynbee recognized that Islam was the religion that could prevent a race war in the world. Arnold Toynbee mentioned that in his Islam in the West. He said that Islam can prevent a race war because one of the things that Aristotle says in Book 5 in the Politics, which is the book on revolutions, Aristotle says that he gives 11 causes for revolutions. And the primary cause is when the 99% are fed up with the 1%. So, and he wrote that 2,500 years ago, so not much has changed. But he says one of the reasons for civil wars is heterogeneity. When you have multiple races in a society. And that's only when you perceive them as multiples. But what Islam does is it says, no, you are all Banu Adam, you're the same race. It's called the human race. And one of the things that Iblis is trying to do now is make everybody think that they're different races, because that will create this animosity. And that's why Islam, of all the religions, it is unique in that the Prophet ﷺ, in his final speech on the day of Arafah, he summed up the human problems, which are essentially three problems: race, gender, and class. That's what everything is about. It's all these human conflicts are about the battle of the sexes, the rich versus the poor versus the rich, and then about black versus white, or this tribe versus that tribe. And the Prophet ﷺ, he completely clarified these three things, that the whole foundation of wealth disparity is usury. And so he went to the root problem, usury. The whole problem with the male problem is not treating the women well. because women will love and be good partners to men if they treat them well. If they don't, then you're going to have Martians and Venetians, just two different types of warlike, that are war with one another. And finally, he identified the race problem, because he said, لا فضل لعربي على عجمي ولا لعجمي على عربي ولا لأبيض على أسود ولا لأسود على أبيض إلا بتقوى. He said there's no difference. And it's really important to look at this hadith, because he said in the hadith there's no difference between an Arab man or woman, Arabi. He took it to the singular. He didn't say لا فضل للعرب على العجم. He didn't say it, he didn't collectivize. He took it to where the problem resides. It resides in the individual. And so he said there's no preference of an individual Arab over an individual non-Arab, or an individual black over an individual white, or an individual white over an individual black. He took them both ways. So he showed that it can go both ways. So this idea, this modern idea that you can't have, that racism is essentially power and privilege directed towards the powerless and the underprivileged, that you can't have somebody who's powerless feeling racialist feelings towards somebody that's in power, that's completely anti-Muslim. Any sense of belittlement of another human being is from arrogance, and that's the essence of racism. And that's why this hadith is such an extraordinary hadith, because it reminds us of the universal nature of our species, that we are all human beings. And this is what Dr. King, when he said that he wanted people to judge by the content of their character, in other words, their spirituality, not the color of their skin, in other words, their materiality. And this is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ was saying. So that message is completely in concordance with the teaching of Islam, that people should be judged by the content of their character, in other words, by their taqwa, by their conscientiousness, by their goodness, by their virtue, by their ethics, and not by anything that is of material nature. Kullukum min Adam wa Adam min Turab. All of you are from Adam, and Adam is from Turab. Alhamdulillah.